In this video, I'm going to show you how to get your image from looking like this to looking like this. But first, let's go back to where we were. And this is the look that you can expect to get when you just have the ceiling lights on and nothing else. And it's acceptable. It's not bad by any means. And if your content is good and your audio is good, then it's going to be just fine. But if you really want to give your videos that extra pop, then I would suggest investing some time and some money into your lighting before you even worry about upgrading your camera or your lens or anything like that. So let's start off by turning off all the lights. Now I'm going to turn on the most important light, which is called our key light. And as you can see, that's already a lot better. A key light is just a fancy term for your main light source. The one that I'm normally using is the small rig RC120B, and I use it with a large softbox to diffuse the light. So there's many different ways you can situate your key light. One of my favorites is to place it in front of me, 45 degrees to either the left or the right side. For this video, I wanted to use a smaller light, so I'm using the Luminar YN300 with an umbrella in front of it. The softbox and the umbrella are used to diffuse the light, which basically makes it softer so that it's more flattering. Now the next light that I'm going to turn on is just a lamp in the background over there. And as you can see, it's starting to look a lot better. Now anytime you have a light source where the source is visible in the frame, the way that lamp is back there, that's called a practical. And all that does is basically make your image look more interesting instead of having a plain background. And this right here by itself is honestly more than enough. And many times this is all I use because I like the dramatic look that it gives. But if you want to add a little more to really make it pop, there's a few more things you could do. So off to my left and 45 degrees behind me, I have another Luminar 300, which I'm about to turn on. And I set the color temperature to be very warm so that it matches the practical light that I'm using back there. And this technique is called motivated lighting, which makes it look like that lamp in the background is what's lighting up the edge of this couch and the side of my face over here, when in actuality, it's a secondary light that's set at the same color temperature. Now this is looking pretty good. I'm sure it's looking a lot better than when we first started with the ceiling lights. But still, the background is a little bit too dark, which looks good in my opinion. But for most scenarios, you want to liven it up a little bit more. So let's go ahead and turn on the other Luminar YN300 Air that I have on the floor back there, pointed at the wall. So what that does is help separate me from the background and also makes the background more interesting by giving it that soft gradient. But we're still not done. Normally I like to add two more lights, another practical and another motivating light. For the practical, sometimes I just turn on my computer monitor because in essence, it's a big LCD light panel. And if you put on a nice background, it looks real nice. But in this case, we're going to leave the monitor off. And instead, we're going to use a small pocket RGB light from Videography. And we're going to put that behind the monitor facing the wall. And that looks like this. And as you can see, that makes the background look much more interesting. And for our last element, off to my right and 45 degrees behind me, I have a long RGB tube light from Sure. And I'm going to use that as a motivating light to make it look like the light from behind the monitor is lighting me up. And that looks like this. And while lighting is the most important factor for getting a pleasing image, there's also one more thing that I'm using to help me achieve these looks, which is my Filmic LUT Pack and Lightroom Profile Pack, which is available for 15 bucks at FulanCreative.com. Now, out of all the different lights that I talked about, the most important one is your key light. And that's why I highly recommend that you watch this video next, where I review the small rig RC120B, which is an amazing and affordable key light. I left links in the description to all the different lights that I talked about. If you gained any value from this video, make sure to leave it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos. I appreciate you watching to the end, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.